And just like that, the dry season is over. After 6 months with absolutely zero rain, sometimes a drizzle, a few drops here and there, maybe one thing you might call a momentary rainstorm, you can see how brown the ground is. It has now been raining for the last 8 hours. Now, some other parts of the country have had rain previous to today, but very little has had rain previous to this week. But here in Leon, the driest and hottest part of the country, the Occidental region, we get the longest dry season, the hardest time without rain, but that time is over. I'm Scott Miller. This is my life living in Leon, Nicaragua, and today I'm going to do more of a vlog entry and talk about the life here with the cycle of seasons and a little bit about just what it's like living with the sudden rain. So we're going to get to life in sometimes rainy, sometimes dry Leon right after the bump. Viewers of my show must find it really interesting that when I'm filming and putting up shows in real time or near real time, there's a distinct change in look on the show between the seasons. Here in Nicaragua, we have two main seasons: the dry season that happens during the North American winter, and then the wet season, the rainy season, the monsoon season, technically, that happens during the North American summer. And they each last roughly 6 months, and they're very noticeable, and everything changes. The way that the grass looks, the way that the sky looks, obviously how bright it is, and the fact that there's rain. And it's such a huge part of life here, but having lived here for a number of years, I start to forget how impactful this is and how much life changes between these two seasons. Last night, I was watching television with my daughters. We were hanging out, and it's been the dry season. We've not seen or heard rain in any form, even when we were up in the mountains, for about 6 months. And while we were watching our show, suddenly we heard something. We're like, is that rain? And we ran outside, and it was really raining, and it was ramping up. And we couldn't believe it because we had it's a little bit early for the rainy season, and we had no precursors. Yes, the sky was a little bit darker the last few days. We know we were getting some clouds. It was possible to see some rain, but we were not expecting any real rain. We had not heard any predictions. We knew Esteli had gotten a couple days of moderate rain, but we were really not prepared. And so we ran out, and of course the first rain, you're outside, you're watching everything, you're like, this is just, it's so nice, it's so fresh. It's the first time you're really getting fresh air in a long time, and it's so different, right? You miss it and you forget how much you miss it. You get used to the dry season, and it's just a different thing, and it just is what life is. And then when it's rainy season, it just rains nearly every day, and you just get used to that, and it's but this was really surprising because we ended up, it's still raining, and it's been about 8 hours. So this is it came down as an actual monsoon. We had, I'll show here. You guys have seen videos before. This yard completely filled up with water. It was over the sidewalk here, which is not that much water, but it takes a bit because there's a ton of drainage here. We have drainage ditches. We have French drains. We have a huge, I don't know if you can see it, probably not, in front of the parking garage, huge French drains there. We have, you're never going to be able to see any of these things. I'm trying to show right over here. There's drains underneath the sidewalk, so it flows between these different areas, and the big drains going out the back. This is meant to move a lot of water. Same thing in our front yard and everything. The house, and this is generally pretty common, but our roof failed. Now, all throughout the rainy season, we're always fighting with roof problems because the rain is so heavy and so sudden. You go from, light drizzles to just monsoon so quickly that it catches you off guard and you're not sure what to do. But when the dry season is over, your roof has been sitting for 6 months and not being tested in any way. During the rainy season, you have daily tests, and you see what's going on with the roof little by little. So if it's going to have a new leak or whatever, it's going to be a new small leak, and you address it relatively quickly, generally. But during the dry season, you go through 6 months of intense heat, intense sun. The rain actually makes some things easier, so it's less likely to fail, as far as I know. So, and the first rain of the season, the first big one, like we got with no warning, our roof got tested really heavily, and we used to have leaks in my daughter's rooms. Thankfully, those have been fixed. We put in a ton of work to fix those, and they seem to be good. But we had a new leak in our living room, and it came down like a waterfall and just poured into our living room. Thankfully, only one thing was there, our water cooler, and it poured on that. But it was plugged in, but we were able to get that unplugged, moved it. Not a big deal. It's meant to get wet. It's a water cooler. We had to move our couches. We had to go in some rooms and cover up the electronics. We have 3 rooms that are leaking. 2 are just real minor leaks, and then the living room, though, is one of the worst leaks we've ever had. And so even now, the entire living room is underwater. You can't be in there. It's completely crazy. So we have to have someone come and look at the roof, which we all throughout the rainy season. We're constantly doing roof repairs and just trying to figure out how to keep the house dry. Every time there's a major storm, we're walking around trying to figure out what's going to go wrong. One of the things about one of the reasons that a rental is nice, like we have, is, as long as you keep your own equipment, TVs and laptops and stuff covered up or someplace dry, make sure they're in a drawer or something, a little bit hard with the TV, then you're probably good. And it's just an inconvenience. If it's a house you own, that's your roof that you're constantly having to deal with. Of course, you can do things to have really good, stable roofs. A lot of these older houses, this one is not ancient, but it's not new, have questionable roofs, and it's a constant battle. So it's a reason why a modern house, if you're going to own one, could be nice. Certainly for us, if we're going to own our own house that we actually live in here, having something very modern with a really modern roof that's completely sealed would be fantastic. The old colonial structures are very hard to do that with and kind of impractical. In our living room, the middle is actually open, not the way that a traditional colonial is, where it's absolutely open. Ours has a roof over an opening, so air moves through quite well. But it does have the possibility that with wind, rain can kind of come in at an angle and blow in. So there's always a certain amount of moisture and rain droplets that will come in through the middle. So we expect the living room to always have some amount of rain on the ground if it's a storm of any size at all. So we always know to be careful to walking through barefoot. It can be super slippery. It's all tile, of course. Unfortunately, our living room is also the depression in the house structure. So any water that comes in anywhere in the area collects in the middle of the living room rather than running out of the house somewhere. I think that's because the foundation has eroded over 50 years or so that the house has been here and just isn't as well leveled as it should be. And I don't know that there's anything they can do about that without really major construction. So and it's not the biggest deal in the world, but sweeping all the water out of the house is pretty difficult because it's going uphill just slightly, very slightly. I actually was able to sweep out quite a lot, but it is a little bit challenging at times. So we have a house that's very flooded right now. We'll be working on the roof probably later today, if not tomorrow, depending on when people are available. And my dogs are very excited, though. They're having so much fun running all over. The rainy season is great fun for them. There's they love to dig, which we are not thrilled about. But it's cooler weather, so they get so excited and just start running around like crazy because it gives them so much more energy, and it's like a whole new world for them. So over the course of the next few weeks, we expect you to see all of this turn from, there's still a little bit of green, but from very brown to very green and lush. It will be popping up very quickly. And like this here, this will have so much green and coverage coming up soon. And we really hate the end of dry season. Everything has suffered so much, and we lose all the grass. We lose so many plants. And our irrigation system was broken by our gardeners, so that doesn't work. We try to, keep things watered a little bit, but you don't want to run the well dry. It's complicated, right? And now we're not on city water, so we don't have to worry about affecting other people really, but we are on a well and it could run dry. And so we don't want to just use it dramatically. The dry season does go on for a long time and there's no way to replenish it, right? You're just waiting for the water table to come up based on the streams or whatever. And they're very, very small. So it's a challenge a little bit here, and every house is a little bit different. We have so much to water that it really does become a problem if we try to keep it all green. So we mostly let it go and let it come back. We're kind of adjusting to having a natural cycle a little bit. But it is so beautiful during the rainy season when this garden becomes so lush. So this is when you guys will see the show changing pretty quickly. And so it is a Sunday morning. I'm enjoying having some really beautiful weather. It's first thing in the morning. I just woke up and found that it was still raining and wanted to kind of bring my day to you. My dog is, of course, muddy and wet because he's been running around. So, of course, as he does, his first thing was to run and play for a little bit and get in the dark and go get onto the chair, which he'll make all muddy. Of course, our living room is now coated in muddy footprints, and here he is making our furniture dirty. He also smells of skunk because these two dogs got into a skunk a couple days ago, and our hot water is broken, so I haven't been wanting to give them a shower because it's so cold and it's a bit much for them. The suicide showers, which are generally pretty safe if you treat them in good ways, but you do get shocked often, do break constantly. And the one that I have in my room, if I do anything to get it to turn on, it actually explodes. And there's like flames come out of it and stuff. So best not to use it. We're going to have to get a new one, but we have no time to do that stuff because it requires shopping, and installation is just not a huge priority. So it keeps being put on the back burner. So it's that season. It's the big change of life. It is our, I guess this is our fifth rainy season that we're going into, living here in Nicaragua full time. This is a very different show. I just kind of wanted to get up this morning and share my change of day with you. I'm going to be editing videos today, relaxing around the house, hanging out with the kids, enjoying this overcast, cool weather. It is absolutely beautiful out here. I'm so glad to see everything in the yard have an opportunity to start coming back to life. And thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. I will see all of you tomorrow.